All right, let's talk about Joseph Stalin. He was a communist. What was interesting about Stalin was that he was born poor, but thanks to his God given talents, his ability to debate, his, intel- his intelligence, he was able to garner some attention while he was in school. People noted that he was a great debater and that he was a fairly intelligent individual. So he gained respect relatively early in his career as a student and as a leader of the burgeoning Communist Party. I mean, all in all, it sounds like Stalin was a bit of a revolutionary. Now, when I hear people talk about Stalin, they always talk about, oh, communism, it results in, millions of people dying. I don't think that communism in of itself, if applied properly, will result in any amount of people dying. It's all about how the policy is implemented, just with anything. I mean, democracy in of itself causes, rips in the matrix. You got people in countries like Africa who suffer because of countries like France who pull billions and billions of dollars of resources out of Africa yearly. And that's considered legal and democratic. That's not communist. It's just policy. It's built into the systems that were set up long, long ago between France and those countries in Africa on the western part of Africa. But Stalin, it sounds like Stalin was a bit of a revolutionary. He killed a lot of people, but I think that that was more of a fault of his own personality. I don't think that that was communism. And so when I hear people talk about communism, it's like, oh, communism is so bad. We don't want America to turn into a communist country. So what if America becomes communist? I mean, then what? If people were all on board for what industries could be taken over by the government, such as like in Stalin's case, he took over the farming industry, right? And I'll just use that as an example. But he started to kill people who he feared might oppose him. Now, I don't know what his fear was. Did he fear that these people really didn't want communism? I do know that the people whose farms that he took, you know, they slaughtered half of their livestock and then they were exiled. So if you ask me, yeah, I would be upset if somebody were to take, my land away from me, my livestock away from me. Yeah, I would feel some kind of way. I might do something to sabotage, what was being taken away from me. I might try to harm the government. I might become violent. But that's more of a prescription of what's being done to me. That's not necessarily, that's a human response to a policy imposed on other humans. That's not communism. Communism is not inherently violent. Communism is just any other anecdote for, it's a political anecdote for some form of government. Some people oppose, some people are in favor of. It's not inherently violent. So I hate it when I hear people talk about communism as if it's this inherently violent thing. No, the people become violent in response to communism, just like we seen during the January 6th riots right here in the United States. People become violent because of a presidential election which they thought was stolen from their candidate, Donald Trump. So and those are conservatives that So that, we could just as easily say that conservatives are violent, and they cause harm, and they cause death, and they cause mayhem. We can just as easily say that when we say that communist is bad, and Stalin is responsible for millions of people dying. It's just not true. It's just a policy that inherently is detested by a group of people, and other people are in favor of this. And if they were all on the same page, nobody would die. If we all came together and said, hey, communism, let's try it and see if it works. If it doesn't work, let's just kind of scrap it and go on with capitalism, which I have no problem with capitalism. I like capitalism. But I just don't believe that, communism is as bad as everybody says it is. I think that Joseph Stalin was a bad man. Yes, he was bad because he killed people out of paranoia, not because he was a communist. He killed people because he was a lunatic. Anyway, I'm just ranting. But anyway, guys, I'm going to drink to that little rant. I got me some Four Roses right now, single barrel. Taste that. Woo-hoo! All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you didn't, I don't give a fuck. Peace.